same thing as before. Pan the audience. Everyone's standing over there, so I'm gonna stand over here. And then
Look at that handsome
me
face
on
right
the
there.
top, and then
This one.
you guys ready? Okay. So there's a lot of controversy surrounding the rock and roll star Kurt Cobain's death, and there have been several books written and several documentaries made exploring these controversies and these conspiracy theories that people have about his death, whether or not it was a suicide or whether or not he was murdered. One theory suggests that the singer took his own life in his Washington home. One theory suggests that his soon-to-be ex-wife hired someone to have him murdered. So today, this speech will be analyzing the events leading up to his death, the evidence that suggests he was murdered, and the impact he still has on music today and on our world today. So I'm a huge Nirvana fan, and I thought that this would be a good topic to explore. So the events leading up to Kurt Cobain's death are as follows. On March 31st, 1994, Kurt Cobain had escaped from a drug rehab facility that he checked himself into in Los Angeles, California, and he went back to his home in Seattle, Washington. There were several eyewitnesses who said they had seen him in the days leading up to his death, but his wife at the time, Courtney Love, reported that she reported him missing. She said she had no idea where he was at. On April 3rd, 1994, Courtney Love hired a private investigator to find Kurt Cobain because, like I said, she claimed that she didn't know where he was. That private investigator was Tom Grant, and he was hired to investigate Kurt's whereabouts. On April 7th, 1994, Cobain's best friend Dylan and Mr. Grant actually went to Cobain's house and searched for him. They had no luck finding him, but they did find some evidence that he had been there or that someone had been in the house. For example, they found a note that was written by Courtney Love under one of the pillows in one of the spare bedrooms in the home. And on April 8th, 1994, an electrician named Gary found Kurt Cobain's body in a spare bedroom above his garage. And it was interesting because there were people at that house just the day before. Some of the things that were found with Cobain's body were some drug paraphernalia, as well as a shotgun that was laying across his body with a suicide note with a pen stuck through it in a flower pot that was in the same room. That leads me to my next point, which is evidence that suggests Kurt Cobain was murdered. So the first thing is Courtney Love was his soon-to-be ex-wife, and a lot of people think that she hired someone or tried to hire someone to kill him. There is a underground artist who reports in a documentary called Kurt and Courtney that Courtney Love offered him $50,000 to murder him, but he declined it. 7 days after he reported that in that documentary, he was found dead. He got hit by a train. It was also discovered during Kurt Cobain's autopsy that he had about 3 times the lethal amount of morphine in his system that it would take to kill somebody, and that was done after he had already been dead for several days. So it's hard to believe that him being as small as he was only 5'9" and maybe 140 pounds, could ingest that much heroin or morphine, even as a heavy drug user, put the needle away, and then maneuver a shotgun to take his own life. Also in his suicide note, there's no evidence suggesting that he wanted to take his own life. The only blurb in there saying anything about suicide is written in a totally different handwriting. The actual note that's confirmed to be in Cobain's handwriting only talks about him wanting to leave music and retire from music because his career became something that he didn't want in the first place. That leads me to my last point, which is the aftermath of his death. And I wanted to bring this magazine out because this is a Life magazine, and this entire edition was made and it was created created to memorialize and pretty much celebrate his life and celebrate his contributions to music. So after several documentaries were made about Kurt Cobain's death, like Soap and Bleach, Kurt and Courtney, there were several books written, one's titled Who Killed Kurt Cobain, and that was actually written by Courtney Love's dad, who believes that she had him murdered. And after waves of Nirvana fans had a chance to mourn the loss of the rock and roll star, as soon as Nirvana was eligible to be induced to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they were. So Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, he's the lead singer for the Foo Fighters, he was the drummer for Nirvana. And Nirvana's bassist, Chris Novoselic, were able to celebrate Nirvana, Kurt, and their accomplishments as a band during the ceremony held in their honor. So through all of this light coming from such a dark time, Courtney Love and her lawyers still make it extremely hard for journalists and documentary makers to report about his death. They constantly are threatening lawsuits and blackballing people. So it's really, really hard for people to get information out there about him and about things that contradict what Courtney Love wants people to believe. So, in conclusion, who killed Kurt Cobain? Was he murdered by his soon-to-be ex, or did the pressure from all the fame get to him, and did he take his own life? Perhaps we'll never know. All we have is evidence that, for me, points to foul play.